A member of the Archdiocesan Review Board has stepped down amid allegations that Archbishop Anthony Apparon sexually abused an altar boy in the 1970s. Vincent Pereira explains why he resigned.
I did not feel that it could be appropriately and fairly implemented as long as the Archbishop was in charge.
Vincent Pereira was a member of the Archdiocesan Review Board of the Archdiocese of Agana. The board is an advisory board and would ultimately give advice to the Archbishop whenever sexual abuse allegations are made against clergy members. Pereira stepped down from the board last Wednesday, noting that the Archdiocese's policy is flawed.
Mainly because most of the major decisions and determinations that are made in accordance with this policy are made by the Archdiocese, by the Archbishop.
Under the guidelines and policies of the Archdiocese, whenever a sexual abuse allegation is made against a clergy member, the Sexual Abuse Response Coordinator appoints an Archdiocesan investigator to conduct an investigation. The results are then sent to the Archdiocesan Review Board. The board convenes for a meeting and then provides consent and advice to the Archbishop as to what kind of actions should be taken. In the case of Roy Taidagui Quintanilla, the clergy member who was accused of sexually abusing him is none other than Archbishop Anthony Apparon. So how could the Archbishop make an unbiased decision if he is the person being accused of sexual misconduct?
He could take it upon himself to recuse himself?
He could voluntarily step down and say that because of the situation in which I've been identified as the alleged perpetrator, I will step down and somebody else would be appointed to take my place.
But in addition to a flawed policy as he sees it, Pereira says he believes Quintanilla's story. He was sexually abused allegedly by the Archbishop at Mount Carmel Catholic Church in the 1970s.
I've been a clinical social worker for over 30 years. I'm also a licensed mental health counselor. And over those 30 years, I've seen numerous clients where I've done assessments to determine whether or not a client is credible in terms of what they reveal. Over the years, I believe I've been able to gain the type of experience and clinical judgment to determine whether or not a client is credible or not. And based on my observations of everything that's taken place with regard to Mr. Quintanilla, I truly believe that he does present himself as very credible.
Pereira says he's also worked with sex offenders through the judiciary of Guam.
Many offenders deny their responsibility when they're accused of committing sex offenders. And even after they've been adjudicated and they've been found guilty either through a plea agreement or they go to a trial, many of them can still continue to deny even after they pleaded guilty to the criminal sexual conduct offense.
You can read Pereira's letter of resignation online at pacificnewscenter.com.